Hello, everyone. Just thought it might be helpful if I kind of walked you through the learning activities for this week, which is April the 20th through the 24th. So as you can see on the screen that I'm sharing with you, that the new activities are now in a red folder. They will always be the new activities at the top of your page. As far as what's below the page, those were the activities from last week. And I just wanted to mention, in case you weren't aware of this, that those activities are still available for you to do if you have not done them. We teachers are trying to be very graceful with our grading, realizing that not everybody has access to technology, in the fact that maybe you're having to share your computers or phones or whatnot with other family members. So it may be difficult for you to always meet the deadlines. However, I just wanted to make sure you were aware of a couple of things, that those deadlines do need to be met, in that if you get behind, I worry that you'll feel like you're in a hole and can't climb out. Also, too, it's helpful for me if things are turned in on time for grading purposes. And I also wanted to remind you that if assignments are not completed, you will not receive a grade for fourth quarter. It will be an incomplete if you have not gotten these particular activities done. And even if you are doing activities, if your fourth quarter average is lower than your third quarter average, we are also supposed to give you an incomplete. And what does that mean? Well, that means that you will then have to work through the summer or maybe even into the fall to get those assignments completed, because an incomplete doesn't average in with the third quarter. An incomplete for fourth quarter will not average in with third quarter. So that means then that, if you're looking to play sports for the next school year, or you're trying to gain admission into college, that's not going to happen simply because you earned and received that incomplete. So please make sure that you are working. The whole goal with this long distance learning is that your education will be able to continue. So enough of that. But anyway, let's go back to what we're doing this week. So everything is in the red folder. So let me open that up for you. And at the very top of the page is a little bit of information that says, start here, please read first. These are your directions for this week's learning activities. So let me open that up. And you can see that we have labeled, and by the way, I'm working really closely with Mrs. Talk Talk. She and I are doing the same things. So it's kind of like how we were when we were in school. She and I always planned together. But for this week, you're going to be doing what looks like 3 different activities. They're all in red. And those activities will have assignments in the actual folder that coincide with the instructions that are given here. So let me go back. And so when you start, you want to make sure you read those instructions first, because last week I thought everybody did a pretty good job overall, but some of you all were asking questions of things that I felt like if you had read the instructions, you probably wouldn't have needed to have asked those questions. And please continue to ask questions if you need to, but make sure you do read these instructions first. So one of the things that you're going to be doing is looking at some new information on the toxicology PowerPoint. There is a built-in ed puzzle, and the reason why Mrs. Talk Talk and I did that is because if we were talking with you in the classroom, we would have been stopping periodically to ask questions and make sure you understood what was being discussed. And so the ed puzzle is just a way of getting that done. The ed puzzle, we've done this in a new way. We've actually linked it in through Schoology. So when you click on this link, you'll see a little video tutorial that we did. We even have a little lab demo for you to watch. And of course, as always with Edpuzzle, it will stop you periodically and make sure you can address answers to particular questions before it will allow you to move on. So that, once you complete that, that should automatically share to Schoology. That way you won't have to use a class code to get into the actual Edpuzzle. So again, this Ed puzzle is graded activity number 1. We also, this week, are going to be getting into a little bit of math, and it's very simple math, but you will need a calculator. And I'm sure most of you either have that built into your computer or can access it on your cell phone. But we're doing something called LD50, which is a lethal dose that differs from one drug to the other and even from one person to the other as to what amount of a particular drug might be lethal for someone. So we have a little tutorial for you to watch. There's no graded assignment with the tutorial, but it would be very helpful to watch that. But Mrs. Talk Talk also was gracious enough to put together a little tutorial herself on the actual lethal dose activity that you're doing. She took you through the first couple of problems and showed you how to work those. So before you jump straight to the lethal dose activity, you'll want to watch the tutorial, and you'll also want to watch Mrs. Talk Talk's video about how to solve these particular math problems. And so then you'll open up a lethal dose toxicity worksheet. If you were at school before school ended, you should already have this. But in case you've misplaced it or did not get one, here it is. So you can print that out, or you can actually write answers on your own paper. But either way, it is right there. And so you'll just be working through it. And because we thought this might take you a little bit of time, particularly since it's new information, that is the only other activity that you're going to be submitting for a grade this week. So even though it looks like there are 3 different activities, there are only 2 actual graded activities that you will be submitting. So once you work through this, you can check your answers with an answer key that we've provided. And then there's a place to turn in this actual activity, the LD50 toxicity worksheet. So when you open this up, your screen's going to look a little bit different than mine, but over here it should be something that will allow you to submit this activity. So whether you, I'm trying to think what your different options are. Basically, I think you're just going to need to take a picture of your completed work and then submit that here. But there'll be a place that says file upload or file attachment, and that's where you'll go in and attach your completed worksheet. The only reason why I'm mentioning this to you is last week, some of you all actually emailed to me rather than submitting on Schoology particular activities, even though there was a place to submit that on Schoology. And while that's not the end of the world, it could be a problem in that I'm getting so many emails each day from administration, from other staff members, from students, from parents, that I worry that if you email it to me, that it might get buried and then I might not see it. So again, make sure you're submitting that on the Schoology page. And then back to our main page for this week. That really should be about everything that you need to get done. So let's kind of run through it again. So you're going to start here and read first, and that should answer a lot of questions that maybe then you won't then need to contact me to find the answers to. So let's open that up again. And notice there are 3 activities, but again, only 2 of them are activities that you'll need to submit and for grading. Basically, again, it's an ed puzzle and then a LD50 worksheet. Then there is a tutorial that you need to watch before you start the LD50 worksheet. There is a Mrs. Talk Talk guide on working the first few problems together so that you won't be struggling with the LD50 worksheet. And then there's the actual worksheet that you need to print off, or you can write answers on your own paper. Take a photograph of those, and then those can be uploaded through Schoology on this turn-in page. So I hope that I've mentioned everything. Just wanted to remind you again that no longer are the activities optional and ungraded. They do count toward 4th quarter. And I would sure hate to see everybody have to deal with getting incompletes and then struggling to get this done after school is over for the school year. So stay up on it. Let me know if you have any questions. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week.